Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, the elder apostles in Connecticut, to the bishops, the priests, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching the truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Ram Yahawada with the lesson. And hey, this is Esau's kingdom is falling, man. It's falling completely apart, and people are going back and forth, to and fro in the earth as if none of these things are happening. But there are people that's talking about it. It's not everybody, right? But it looks like the majority of you Babylonians, right? You're trying to ignore what's the inevitable according to the scriptures, right? So go ahead and let these what perceived to be Edomites, right? Because they could be Jake, they could be Ham, they could be Moab. Who knows what they really are through their lineage? But they appear to be Edomites, though, right? But we're gonna see, especially when you talk about, Esau being wiser than the children of light, because you Jakes, you're in complete gross darkness out here, right? With no understanding, right? But let's see the some of these the Putin of Esau, or what perceived to be Esau.
War against Russia, this proxy war, pursued by the United States, Britain, and the G7, some more, some less, is an enormous, costly failure. It's $200 to $300 billion at least down the drain. And Americans and Europeans will long discuss and rue the day they made a decision to lay out that amount of money, not on all their domestic needs. And let me remind you, the Europeans, for them, a 2.8% rate of growth this year would be nirvana. Germany is in recession. Britain is a close second. These are economic basket cases whose situation was made worse when they couldn't access cheap Russian oil and gas, which had been one of the key components of the so-called economic miracle that Western Europe used to boast.
All right, you hear that? So it's an economic basket case, right? So things is not going well in Esau's world, right?
A lot of things are happening. So in my last video, I've reported about a couple of car manufacturers being in trouble and closing factories in Germany. And those reports came from Mercedes having financial troubles, but also Volkswagen closing down factories in Germany. But also now Audi is closing its first factory in Germany, in Europe. And this development is really bad for us European citizens, because if you have car factories closing, if you have rising electricity prices and rising natural gas prices, it will make the cost of the car more expensive, and that means that the end price of the car will be more expensive. And right now, the people just don't have the money to buy very expensive cars. And as a result, they are selling less and less cars, and they have to close down factories. And because of those factories closing, thousands of people have lost their jobs, and that's perpetuating the recession even more. So it's the cat biting its own tail. And that's not good, of course, and that's really bad. So now I have a story for you about a friend who wanted to purchase a car. And it's not only that the price has risen for less product quality, but also now comes the thing. So here in Europe, we have a law now which makes it mandatory to put GPS and also a brake assistance system into the car. So this has been going on for a couple of years now, and most people would turn off this brake assistance system because it's very often making mistakes. If you brake the wrong way on the street, for example, that can cause an accident. So this is why a lot of people, they just turned off this brake assistance system. And then it was okay, then just the GPS probably will work, but the other things were turned off. But now comes the thing. So now they have made a change in the law, and now the car is required to restart this brake assistance system every time you power on the car. So you cannot switch this brake assistance system off for good anymore, but every time the car restarts, you have to switch it off manually on the screen of the car. Let's say you are going on a shopping tour. Maybe you have to stop at 4 different shops. So you stop your car at the parking lot, turn off the car, go shopping, you come back, turn on the car, and then you have to switch off the brake assistance system manually off again. So you have to do that every time.
Yeah, so basically, you're inconveniencing the citizens in their life for absolutely no reason, or order to gain more control over what's happening, because you want to be God, right? You want to be the police of the world. You want to be God, all these things. So wait, let's keep going on this.
No, and that really sucks, because a lot of people will be too lazy and they don't want to switch it off every time. So I bet that a lot of people will just let the system turn on without getting switched off. And that can cause, of course, accidents. So now we have to be even more careful when driving, because there might be some car in front of you making a wrong braking maneuver, which could even cost your life. So that's really, really bad. Also, my friend told me that there's a second change which is coming now. So with 2025, there will be alcohol testers built into the car. And you can only turn on the car if you blow into the alcohol tester. And if you have drunken alcohol, then the car does not start. These are the changes that we are going through here in Europe right now when it comes to cars. All right, the next...
Yeah, so basically, like, that's the thing you do here in America. Once you basically went through the court system, you got a DUI, you're a criminal. So they're saying you're not a criminal. You didn't commit anything illegal. You didn't get caught with a DUI. They're just automatically going to throw it in every citizen's car, and you have to blow in this thing to make sure that you're not driving with alcohol in you. So you're automatically. So they're basically showing that you're a slave, that they're policing the citizens through this new technology, right? Why the economy is tanking, right? And it's hard for you to already buy a car, pay for electricity, because they've been having a big electricity problem, like she was saying over there, right? They're supposed to get their heat from Russia, right? All right. And they so-called went to court against Russia, supposedly won in court. So when they won in court, Russia, or they would say Putin, he just cut it off. So they're not even getting anything from Putin now. So before they were getting the gas so they could heat the, so he just cuts it off. So they're over there with no gas at all. Right? Yeah, I'm gonna show you another clip to let you know that Esau's kingdom is completely falling apart. From America onto the other side of the pond, right? They want to say, right? Other side of the pond, right? Over into Europe, right? Everywhere. Esau, Edom, whole world is falling apart, right?
Company which is now throwing out 500 people here in Austria. This is an important chip manufacturer which is making chips and sensors. It's called Osram, and now they also have to save money, and they're kicking out 500 people. So that's 500 more unemployed people now that the social welfare system has to carry. Also, now we have some numbers what the Ukraine war is costing Germany. Of course, Germany is using a lot of its taxpayers' money to fund the war in Ukraine. So apparently, the Ukraine war has cost Germany 200 billion euros. 200 billion.
200 billion. That's just Germany. But Germany, like she said, is going through a recession. Their grid, their electric grid is not working well. They're about to go into winter. It's about to be cold, right? Esau, whole world is falling apart, right? So, hey, man, call Volume Yahweh Shemal Shai, man. This is just beautiful, man. This is confirmation, man. The Lord is doing a mighty work, man. The Lord is the Lord is working right now, man.
And that's only from Germany. Can you imagine that? 200 billion euros paid by the German taxpayer. This is really insane, guys. It's insane. They are throwing so much money out of the window for this stupid war. Also, Putin has turned off the gas to Austria, or especially to the company OMV, which is our state-funded energy company, which is having a refinery, and they're also distributing natural gas in Austria. So apparently there was a legal fight over disrupted deliveries from natural gas from Russia, and then they have sued Gazprom, and apparently we have won this legal case, and now Putin just turned off the natural gas. Then our chancellor has said that no house or no flat will be cold in wintertime, and that we have enough of natural gas in our storage. But I don't know, man. This winter, I think it's going to be colder than the last winters that we had.
Yes. Hey, man. His kingdom is falling apart, man. The Lord is just plucking apart little left and right, man. Little by little, left and right. The Lord's just plucking the whole kingdom apart. Right?
After another. Let me give you just one more example that jumped out at me today. Last night, apparently, President-elect Trump announced, as if he were already the president, the tariffs he's going to hit Mexico and Canada, which turn out to be larger than the ones he was going to do on China. Which is funny because it was literally only a matter of weeks ago that we got the reverse kind of story, that China would be the great target and almost no mention of Mexico and Canada. And one of the reasons, the main reason the president gave, is he's going to stop immigration. And there was, again, the usual language about invasion. Well, if you put a 25% tariff, let me just do a very simple economic lesson. You put a 25% tariff on Mexico, it means all of that product that Mexico produces and ships to the U.S. will now cost suddenly 25% more, because every importer of Mexican goods will have to give a 25% tax, that's what a tariff is, to Uncle Sam. It'll be American importers paying tax to the American government. Now, there's two things you want to think about here. Number one, the Republican Party used to be thought of as the party against taxes, but it isn't. In its new incarnation, it is a massively taxing entity. That's what it's doing. Tariff is a kind of tax. It doesn't stop being a tax because you call it a tariff. That's silly. But here's the part I like even more, just for the irony. If you do that, Mexicans will be able to sell much less produce in the U.S. because it's more expensive. So they won't be able to sell. So they'll lay off workers. Well, if you lay off a worker in Mexico, you're confronting that worker with two choices. You can quietly go home, lie down, and die. That's your one shot. Here's your second shot. Collect your family and try to migrate to the United States to get a job. This program will worsen the immigration it is ostensibly supposed to stop. And that incoherence, that's the single most impressive quality, not just of Mr. Trump, but of Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary. What's coming out of there?
Gun! Brakatayahu Shy, man. Hey, man. Hey, man, let me get on that right there real quick. Right, he just, man, there you go. There you go. That's that. I got to get that script right there. Hold on. Yeah, so this is Obadiah chapter 1, verse 7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy, right? Because, you got the so-called, the G7, right? The NATO EU, right? They're part of your confederate, You even got people that was confederate with you jumping ship and signing up with the BRICS, right? So all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border, right? Hey, man, they're gonna take you as far as they can go with you until, right, until it's not profitable anymore, right? Because people are starting to be ashamed of you, right? You're starting to be despised amongst all the other nations. So once they see you completely lost your what do you call influence in the world, they're gonna take you to the border and it's gonna, I don't got nothing to do with them, right? Even to the border, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, see, and prevailed against thee, right? Because they're going to shoot missiles upon you, even your mother, right? As it tells you in Isaiah that your mother should be sore ashamed of you, right? And that's what's coming to you, America, Babylon the Great, and the Israelis. The world is going to be ashamed of you guys, right? Right? And you're already starting to see that. But you've been the big bad bully around, so you're trying to psych yourself out, right? And it says, yeah, and have prevailed against thee, they that ate thy bread, right? They traded goods with you, made money off you, especially China. China made lots and lots of money. You made China the number one country in trading goods and creating and trading goods. What made America great was that we had our own factories, or I ain't gonna say we, but there was its own factories and created its own products, and it competed with the world with the things that were created here. but you just being a consumer nation, and pretty much you have to depend, and most of you're depending on China, who you're talking about fighting over Taiwan, right? Which is really insignificant, and which is really should be none of your business. But hey, man, the Lord is beautiful, right? He'll lay a wound and prevail against thee. They that ate thy bread have, right. You gave aid. You know what I mean? You gave aid to a lot of these countries when they were going through things, hurricane, whatever came through, some type of whatever storm came through, whatever flood and stuff, and you go and you send aid, right? You got the situation with Gaza going on. You're sending food and aid, and you're doing all these different things, right? They that ate thy bread have laid a wound under thee. See, and ultimately, what is that? The Ukraine war, all that money you keep, and saying that was just, she said 200 billion euros, and that was just Germany. So look at all the other countries that's giving up money. So you know how much money you're throwing at a war that you're losing, right? That is crazy, right? They have laid a wound. They that ate thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is what? None understanding in him. And that was that's the thought that came to my when the guy was, he said, I'm amazed. He's, a matter of fact, let's rewind it, because he said he's amazed. The only thing that's amazing is your inability of comprehension, man, to know that this thing is going way left, way fast, and way out of your control, right? And you're not dealing with reality, right?
And die. That's your one shot. Here's your second shot. Collect your family and try to migrate to the United States to get a job. This program will worsen the immigration it is ostensibly supposed to stop. And that incoherence,
Yeah.
that's the single most impressive quality, not just of Mr. Trump, but of Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary. What's coming out of their mouth?
He said, hey, man, the most impressive thing about you is your incoherence. So you have no understanding in you, right? Yeah, so this is Obadiah chapter 1, verse 9. It says, and thy mighty men, O Teman being the Germans, right? Shall be dismayed, right? So and Teman is supposed to be the smart ones, the wise ones out of Esau, out of all the tribes of Esau. Teman is one of the smartest one, but the Lord said, hey, look, Teman is going to be dismayed. Your military, your wise men, your smart guys, the ones that's supposed to be intelligent, all this is going to be dismayed. It says, yeah, you're mighty, and thy mighty, right? Dealing with your military. You're probably so-called helping out America with the Ukraine war, and you're spending over $2 billion or so, and you're still losing. So that tells you that there's no understanding in you. And then you're gonna leave all your citizens without any power, without any heat for the winter. Mercedes is going out of business. All these top places is going out of business. Volkswagen, what these Audi, these top places, these top selling uh um cars for many, many years that's super expensive is all of a sudden going out of business, man. Right? They have to shut down certain factories just to stay afloat. Cause this is this is your kingdom, man. Right? And those are cars of the Teeman cars, right? Because those are like some of the best cars are made from Teeman, right? The so-called Germans, right? And the Lord says you shall be dismayed, and thy mighty old Teeman shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. See, you're over there fighting a war, throwing money at it, all to be slaughtered. Yeah, so this is Jeremiah chapter 49 and 7 concerning Edom, right? It's all you Edomites, you're going down, man. Your whole system from America over to Europe, your whole system is going down, man. Everything is crumbling, man. It says concerning Edom, thus saith Yahweh, right? All caps, the Most High, He exists, the existing one. Basham, Yahweh Shai, Basham Rakakodash of host is wisdom no more in Teman? The Lord's asking a question, man. Are you funding a war that you're losing and continuing to fund it, and you're losing, man? You're losing horribly. But your bright idea is to say, hey, we're going to keep on going with this war. Right? Because you're supposed to be the wise one. You're supposed to be the smart one out of all the Edomites, man. Right? Project Paperclip. They had to take, half the German scientists to Russia, the other half to America, had the space race, right? So we came up with the so-called the atomic bomb, and then basically led into the nuclear missiles. Now that's why you got these arrows and these silos, all because of you, right? All because of your scientists, all because of your wisdom. But there must be, is there no more wisdom and teaming amongst you Germans? There ain't no wisdom, right? Is counsel perished? So your whole, because who's counseling this, right? Mercedes going out of business. What? You know how much money Mercedes makes? Volkswagen, Audi, all these things going out of business, going down, at least closing up shops. Right? You may not be going completely out of business, but you're closing down factories, right? In order to save money. Because the economy is so bad, and it's only bad behind the war, right? So who's counseling you on going to war like this? Right? Is counsel perished from the prudence, right? And prudent means studied, right? You're the ones who normally is smart. It's to mean you're smart. You're well studied, right? Is their wisdom vanished? Right? So ultimately, yeah, something ain't going on. Something's not happening the right way, right? Something's definitely going on with you Germans, man. Right? You Teamanites, man. Right?
Was made worse when they couldn't access cheap Russian oil and gas, which had been one of the key components of the so-called economic miracle that Western Europe used to boast about. They are in horrible trouble, having wasted an enormous amount of money. And so the damage that has been done is to Ukraine and Europe, secondarily the United States, but not to the ostensible enemies. If there were a different kind of government in the United States, more like in certain European countries, you would have had mass resignations of leading officials for having blundered so badly in this affair. But of course, we don't do that. We can't do that because we're desperately trying to hold on in the United States to what is now clearly the illusion of being the once powerful U.S. when we aren't anymore. Let's be honest here. We lost the war in Vietnam. We lost the war in Afghanistan. We lost the war in Iraq. We're losing the war in Ukraine. Hello, there's something going on here, isn't there? Right? The people who run Vietnam is the Communist Party of Vietnam. The people who run Afghanistan are the Taliban. Those were the enemies of the United States. But they are the dominant political forces in those, and I could go on. So we are looking at, in my judgment, beyond all the specifics that Michael and I talk about, we are watching the decline of an empire and the accumulated difficulties of U.S. capitalism play themselves out in one symptom after another. Let me give you.
Right. So this is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 5. O Assyrian, the rod of my anger. So America is also known as spiritually Assyria, right? Because the Assyrians and the Babylonians were almost kind of like how North Korea is from South Korea. Like they're pretty much the same people, but they have a different way of society. Like North Korea is more militant. The Assyrians were more militant, and then the Babylonians were more about society and agriculture, farming. They were more of that, even though they did have a military, obviously, because they ruled, you know. So they have their difficult, but they were pretty much the same people, and they lived on the same land. I believe it said that the Assyrians were in the northern part of Mesopotamia, and the Babylonians were in the southern part of Mesopotamia, right? So which even then, it split the kingdoms because I believe the northern kingdom went under the Assyrian captivity, and the southern kingdom went under the Babylonian captivity, which literally split them between the north and the south, right? So they didn't go under captivity under the same, similar people, but different customs and things that they did. But I believe they were related, right? The Syrians and the Babylonians were related, but they handled things differently, right? So, and that's America, Babylon the Great, because it's it engulfed all these different societies, and it has its super military side of it, and then it has the whole part where it really gets into the farming and everything. Well, everything used to be about the heartland of America and the farmers and things like that, but now that's not the thing that they pride themselves on, right? Which I don't think you could pride yourself on anything at this point as far as being American. That's why the Lord said because that's why they went through different places and conquered and then even tried to conquer, but there's become a time where you started losing, which is the decline of America, right? So you were Assyrians, the rod of my anger, the staff in their hand is the indignation. So the Lord allowed you to go around the world and conquer all the nations. But there came a particular time in 1960s, late 60s or so, time of the time that the truth came out, time of Abba Bibbins, you started declining. this empire started declining. The Lord said you were only going to rule a short space, right? So it says, yeah. Yeah, so this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 8. Because thus has spoiled many nations. See, and ultimately that's Esau, Edom, you have spoiled many nations, right? Being the rod of the Lord's anger, right? The Lord allowed you to rule and conquer all these, and in your mind, you think you still have it that way, right? That's what even that guy was saying, right? Because you spoiled many nations, right? It means you took their goods, you went around, and what you still were doing it, even later on in life, you were taking the oil, the uranium, the vibranium, the iridium. You take all these different gold, right? They just found that big deposit of gold in Nigeria, and no mention of that, right? Since you're in the Congo taking their iridium and what is it, Haiti taking their iridium, right? These things that's worth 3 times more than gold. You're going around the earth taking the spoils. So you're still doing it, but there's a decline to your ability to do these things, right? So it says because you're on your way out of here, right? And it says has spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. So now you're coming into the time where, hey, they're fighting back. And when you went through, like the guy who said, you went to the Vietnam War, you lost that war, you lost the Desert Storm, you lost, you lost the war against Al Qaeda, the Taliban. You spent 20 years and you lost that. You're fighting in the Ukraine war, you're losing that. So this is the time that the Lord is about to take you out of here, man. Right? It says, yeah. And all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. See, now it's time that you be spoiled, America. And your allies. But that's why a lot of your allies is going to step back once they see how you're going to be despised. The whole world's going to despise you Edomites, man. Right? So it says, because of men's blood, for the violence of the land, of the city, and of that dwell therein. Woe unto him that coveteth in evil covetousness. So when you go around these places, you take these people's the gold, their silver, their uranium, all these things, vibranium, whatever they got, diamonds, oil. You take everything from them, right? And you coveted it with an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high. And that's you. You took it so that you can build all these so-called space stations, build your laser weapons, and so you could be pumped up, be pompous behind what you got, but you're still losing these wars. But somehow in your mind, you think you're still the old America when you became the one who became the leading dollar of the world, and you're not the prize anymore. right? You're not the, you're not the, you're not, you know what I mean? You like these so-called black women now, man. You like these women just in general. People are realizing that these women ain't the prize, right? It says yeah, with evil covetousness, yeah, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. So yeah, see, ultimately, yeah, you're looking to be delivered in the time that the Lord sent forth these ICBM missiles, man, in the time of Jacob's trouble. So you got your nest on high, you got your space stations, you got your bunkers, right? So you feel like, hey, when World War III pop off, you're good. So that's why you really truly ain't worried that it's diminishing the dollar, that it's really actually gonna hurt the citizens that you're supposed to rule over, which proves that you're not a worthy leader or a ruler. That's why the Lord has to take you out of your rulership. That's one reason, one good reason. Thus has consult con, consulted shame to thy house. See, by cutting off many people, and has sinned against thy soul. Right. So ultimately, that's ultimately what where you at, man. Now it's time that the Lord has to judge you, right? Yeah, so this Joel chapter 3, verse 9. Proclaim ye among the Gentiles, right? So this is what we do. The Lord said that we're a prophet unto the nations. That's what he told Jeremiah, right? That he's a prophet unto the nations. So are we. We're a prophet unto the nations, right? All you nations. It says, proclaim ye this amongst the Gentiles, which are nations, right? All you nations. Prepare war. So this is all really orchestrated by the Most High Yahweh through his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai. Wake up, the mighty men. Say, hey, it's time for you to, hey, wake up. Come on now. Ain't no more sleeping. Ain't no more enjoying the pleasures and all these other nice things. Now it's time for judgment, right? And now you're panicking. And you're panicking so much that you're willing to leave the people that you're supposed to rule over out to dry. Because you feel, hey, I got my bunkers. I done built my nest in heaven. I'm good. I got everything. I'm good. But you shed too many people's blood. So hey, it's time to it's a thing. It's a shame. It's gonna be a shame to your own soul, right? The Lord has to the Lord has to judge you on a very high level, right? It says let all the men. It says yeah, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And that's where we're at right now. All those countries that you lost, and now we're getting to the ultimate part where the weaks because all those countries didn't have the weaponry or even the financial backing that they have now, especially now that these countries are now connected with the BRICS. Now they're fully funded and fully backed up by a also superpower as far as military wise. China and Russia as militarily superpowers, man. Right? Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, right? All you nations, you heathen, right? And gather yourselves together round about thence come, thy mighty ones, and come down, O Yahweh. Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. So, hey, the angels finna come down and fight with you, man. It's gonna be like the Lord said, a day like none other. You have never seen angels actually come and fight. You have never seen that before, man. And they're gonna fight against you mere mortals. Fight against your hey, what is it called? Dog fighting. Hey, you better have your dog fighting up as far as when you go out into the sky and trying to fight with the chariots, man. Hey, cause you don't got it, right? I know you try to show that on Independence Day, but yeah, there ain't gonna be no Jake or no Edomite that's gonna save you, man. Right? Like Independence Day, right? And that's all farce, right? You ain't gonna beat the angels. Let the heathen be wakened, so like and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about, man. It's time for judgment day. So ultimately that's where we're at, man. Right? You're not escaping it. Yeah, so this is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth, right? That's what you've been, right? You've been the hammer of the whole earth. The Lord said you're like the Assyrians. You were the rod of the Lord's anger, letting you go about conquering everything, man. You took down all of Jake's strongholds, right? In the time that Jake was ruling Europe for over 1,000 years. So it was our time that we had to come out of our rulership, allow you to rule again, because the Lord said you were going to rule a short space. So you went around. The Lord allowed you to conquer all those things, right? And now that's all got to come to an end. How was the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder? See, you've been the hammer of the whole earth. You've been going around, and everything's a nail to you, man. You've been beating up everybody, every little small country, every little thing, especially them small countries, places that you knew that you could beat, right? Supposedly you helped China. I was watching one video where you had helped China fight off the Japanese because the Japanese was invading China, and you basically helped China, um, you know, get the Japanese up out of there. See, but now look at that. You did all those things, and that's part of like one of those things where they have laid a wound under you. You helped them out, but where's your help, right? So it says, but you're gonna just be cut asunder. How is the whole hammer of the earth cut asunder and broken, right? How was Babylon become a desolation, which that's America, Babylon the Great, man, the daughter of Babylon, right? Among the heathen, see, you're gonna be desolate amongst the heathen, amongst all these nations, man, because you thought you was just gonna be Billy Badass, conquering and doing all these things, but the Lord shows you He's the decider of who wins wars and who loses wars. And the Lord ain't in all your thoughts, because you're gonna call Him Jehovah, you're gonna call Him Jesus, you're gonna call Him you might pull a what's his name, Bishop Nate, and call him Yo Play Yogurt, right? But you're not gonna allow the truth to come out, except for the truth has to come out, right? And so you're not the dictator of the truth. You want to be a dictator, but Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, controls all this, man. That's why the internet was invented. That's why the internet has done the heavy lifting. as Apostle Gabar has constantly said, which makes all the sense in the world. The more that he said, the more it makes sense. The more and more, it's almost like a well, the Lord, like it says the scriptures are, it's a living word. But the more and more it's said, it's like, dang, you actually see how far it's actually taken everything, man. How far it's gone. You see brothers in Japan and China saying Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai in Chinese and Japanese, right? You got brothers all around the world waking up to this truth, man. Speaking the exact same thing I'm speaking. Way in China, way in Japan, way in Australia. There's brothers putting up videos all over the world right now, showing that you're coming to your end. It ain't no, your Edomite kingdom is done, man. So with all that, I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles in Connecticut, to the bishops, the priests, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom, to you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence and a Baba ball.